Am I the asshole for leaving one of my brother's kids out of a trip, but taking the rest? So, long story short, I, 35 female, live and work abroad, but I'm from the Midwest. I grew up with my brother, Jason, 43 male, and our parents, 70s. We were working class, had what we needed, but not well off by any means. When I was in high school, Jason married Tiffany, 40 female, who is and was and will always be a mess of a person.
Chill.
Oh,
Whoa.
Okay.
that is intense.
Heavy drinker, partier, God knows whatever else. But she was hot, and my brother's a dweeb, to put it nicely. They had Jace, 19 male, Jeff, 17 male, and Hannah, 12 female. Their marriage broke down before Hannah was born. They tried working it out, but ultimately got divorced. Jason started dating Jenny, 43 female, while splitting custody with the kids with Tiffany, 50-50. Since Tiff had been a stay-at-home mom, she received child support and alimony, and my brother worked a lot. I liked Jenny at first. She wasn't a complete smoke show like Tiff, but she was kind.
Jeez.
Smoke show.
She had a good job and was well educated. I thought much better match. At first, I know Jenny was upset that the kids didn't immediately love her and call her mom when they were there, and the divorce was hard on them. Got pregnant somewhere fast with Daisy, 10 female, and then got married. Around this time, the older kids started refusing to go back to Tiff's. She was always drinking and having guys around, so all three moved in full-time with Jason and Jenny, and Tiff left town and is no longer in the kids' lives.
Whoa.
Damn.
I tried being understanding. I'm sure having a newborn and then 3 older kids full-time is difficult, but Jenny completely changed. She stopped working, but declared she was only a stay-at-home mom to her kid. Jason was working 70-plus hours to make ends meet, and her parents were helping them out. But she controls the finances. This means that the 3 of them, Jason, Jenny, and Daisy, operate as a family unit, going to dinners, events, even vacations, and leaving the older 3 kids at home. I've always thought this was disgusting, and I voiced my opinion about it.
Wait, the dad does it?
Yeah, it's the dad, the new mom, and the newest daughter. And then the oldest 3 are left to fend for themselves, but they all live together.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's despicable.
Because he makes the money, but she controls what they do with the money. So she never includes the oldest kids.
And he's obviously a pushover. He just
And he's just okay with that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Couldn't be me.
I always thought this was disgusting, and I voiced my opinion about it. But Jason said his divorce broke him emotionally, and he'll do anything possible to keep Jenny happy so that their marriage works out. Gross, yes. And 10 years ago, to be frank, I was younger, broker, and dumber, so it was kind of more like a, yes, my brother fucking sucks as a dad, but I live on another continent, and all I can do is be supportive of the kids. I know, not a great attitude in retrospect, and I'm disappointed in myself. I really did my best. When they refused to pay for Jace to learn how to drive, even though Jenny refused to drive the kids anywhere, my mom taught him and I bought him a used car. We had to shame Jason to put him on the insurance, and he makes Jace pay for it. Same with Jeff. They share the car and they use it for their activities and Hannah's. My wife, an only child, and we don't want children, have the 3 of them as our sole beneficiaries in our will. Something we did when we found out that Jenny and Jason plan to leave them only the bare minimum amount and everything goes to Daisy. Also, after we got married, my wife, 6 years ago, and I decided that we would start taking the older kids on annual trips with us when we went to the U.S. Nothing fancy. We might be child-free, but we're not billionaires or anything. Just well off. But things like a week in Florida, Utah, California, things like that. They're very outdoorsy kids, so they have a blast every year, and we plan it when my brother takes Jenny and Daisy on trips, so they don't care. Normally, we vacation in the summer, but Jace got an internship this summer, so we decided to move our trip to the fall and are going to Maine. I let Jason know the dates, and they're in line with their fall break, so no worries, and he basically said we need to start including Daisy. Jenny's parents made some bad investments. They're fine, but they aren't helping them out anymore, and Jenny's looking for a job, but since her parents have already paid for their trips, they can't go on one this year. So even if all was fair, I wouldn't want to take Daisy on a trip. This is going to shock you with parents like that, and I feel so bad saying this about a child, but Daisy is a huge brat. Spoiled, mean, and constantly bragging about the things she gets that her siblings don't. She once told me they weren't her siblings. They were Tiffany's kids. She'd throw toddler level tantrums on holidays if she didn't get as much and more as the other kids. Tell my wife her and I were going to hell. Edit, I now feel bad for including this. She said it about 5 years ago, a few times, and when Jenny was told about it, was the only time that I'd ever seen her discipline Daisy. I guess she heard it from Jenny's aunt, but it was hurtful and hard to forget with everything else. And since Jenny waits on her hand and foot, she's a total slob. I feel bad saying this. I hope when she grows up, she grows out of it, but there is no way I'd want to take her on a vacation. So I told him I didn't think we'd be able to handle all 4 kids, and we'd just take the 5 of us. He said Jenny could come to help out. Absolutely not.
Jenny.
Get Jenny out of here.
Or our mom could go. Love her, but she's getting a freaking hip replacement next month and does not want to go. Plus, the car we need for all these people on a road trip would be stupid. We'd probably need 2. And you know what? I don't want to. Anyway, sorry for the trauma dumping on you all. This is getting long. I was worried Jason would not let me take the other kids on the trip, but they decided to go the route of shaming us online. Obviously, it's working with their friends and her family, but even my dad told me to stick to my guns. But my wife came to me the other day and basically said, are we better than Jenny if we're favoring some kids over another just because we don't like their mom? Before we were evening things out, but now we're obviously favoring the oldest. She told me to think of the long-term health of my family and our relationships. She said that it's my family, so it's my decision, but wants me to think about it. My gut is saying to just take the older 3, but Daisy is only 10. She's not to blame. Would it make me an evil aunt to leave her out? I made a well-intentioned mistake, and now I've lost a friend, but I'm still trying to understand whether I was manipulated into making that mistake.
Oh.
Some time ago, a messy situation unfolded between 3 people. Me, 32 female, a former friend I'll call Susan, 31 female, and someone named Jade, 36 female. Susan owns a small business. While she was working a separate job at a company I'll call Juicebox, she was allowed to sell her personal business's products on their shelves. Later, after she left that job but maintained a relationship with Juicebox, Jade's bitter ex-girlfriend sent an email to Juicebox accusing Susan and Jade, who used to work there too, of theft. Juicebox asked the ex for proof, which she couldn't provide, but the email still made its way into the hands of Susan's old coworkers. Not long after, Juicebox told Susan they'd stop selling her products, citing low sales, but Susan suspects the email played a role in that decision. At the time the email was sent, Susan and I were no longer friends with Jade, but Jade and I have started rekindling our friendship. Susan and Jade were still not on speaking terms. Jade is the one who told me about the email. I immediately felt like I should tell Susan since it could potentially affect her business, but Jade discouraged me from doing so, saying that telling Susan would stress her out and that Juicebox didn't seem to be taking it too seriously. I hesitated and I didn't tell Susan. Eventually, Susan walked into Juicebox one day and an old coworker told her about the accusation. When she came to me upset and confused, I told her the truth, that I had known, that Jade told me, and that I let myself be swayed into silence out of a misguided attempt to protect her. I apologized sincerely, and I meant it. Susan told me she believed that. Had she known earlier, she could have done something to mitigate the damage, perhaps reached out to Juicebox or taken legal action against the ex-girlfriend. She told me she didn't believe I was trying to harm her, but also said she no longer wants to continue our friendship. It hurt, but I accepted it. What I'm still trying to make sense of is whether or not Jade's suggestion was manipulative. A mutual friend later pointed out that while Jade framed her advice as protecting Susan from stress, it also conveniently kept her own name and involvement out of the spotlight. The more I thought about it, the more it seemed like Jade may have been subtly steering me towards staying quiet, not just for Susan's sake, but also to avoid being dragged into any fallout herself. At the time, Jade and I had just rekindled our friendship, so I was in a vulnerable place emotionally and trusted her guidance. I can't tell if she was genuinely trying to reduce chaos or if she was controlling the narrative in a way that worked best for her. So I'm wondering what others think. Was Jade being manipulative by telling me not to say anything to Susan, or was I just overthinking it and made my own bad call? Thanks in advance for reading and for any perspectives you're willing to share. Okay, so top comment. There's no way to know if she was trying to manipulate you intentionally or not, but it doesn't matter if you were manipulated. You were the one who made the final call to not help your friend. You're the one who has stayed friends with someone who chose to let someone else be hurt when they should have stepped forward. It doesn't matter if Jade was trying to manipulate you. Take ownership of your bad calls because you have made 2 of them by staying friends with someone who also made a hurtful judgment call. And that's 100% on you. I hurt someone badly once. It rightfully upset her and I lost a long-term close friendship over it. All we can do is own it and accept that the person we hurt doesn't owe us acceptance of our apology or a second chance. The honorable thing after apologizing and owning our mistake is learning from it and not doing it again, even if the former friend never learns from it.